This video is a true life story portrayed by Sister Blessing, who got married in December 2010. However, just 1 year and 2 months into their marriage, on February 25, 2012, her husband shockingly asked her to leave in the presence of both families and the pastor who had joined them together. One of the husband's main reasons for this demand was that he could have married a younger lady. Interestingly, he was only a year older than his wife. He was 38 years old, while she was just 2 weeks away from her 37th birthday. Essentially, she had married at 37. During their marriage, he deliberately starved his wife of intimacy for almost 2 years, avoided her, reduced her to an object of shame, and watched her take an overdose of Senpain Night, a pain-relieving sleeping pill, without intervening. He even physically battered her in front of his family members who had moved in with them. None of them came to her aid. She had no voice, was helpless, weak, emotionally dehumanized, psychologically reduced to a thing, and physically traumatized. She lost her job on October 16th, just 15 days after her husband's family members moved in. This was the same house she had principally been responsible for, fully paid the rent for, and fully furnished with her own sweat. No longer having any self-esteem left, abused, enslaved, wounded, and shattered, she staggered out of her own matrimonial home, bowed, bent, beaten, betrayed, battered, and broken. You're seeing the real story from the mouth and hand of the victim of this misadventure of love. Welcome to the true life story of Sister Blessing. It was 2010, and I was traveling from Sagamu to Ibadan. I sat next to a middle-aged man who happened to be a prophet. We discussed marriage, and he learned I wasn't married yet. He advised me to fast and pray for a day, after which my husband would surface. He also said I would marry someone I had known years before. According to him, evil people were responsible for our separation, and within 2 weeks of praying and fasting, the person would emerge. I followed his advice, and 2 weeks later, on March 17, 2010, I received a Facebook message from someone. He turned out to be Benga's bosom friend. He told me Benga, whom I had met in 1991 and lost contact with in 1993, had been looking for my number. Yemi gave me Benga's number and assured me he would ensure Benga called me. True to his words, Benga called me that same day, and we agreed to meet on the 19th, a Friday. We met, became close, and decided to get married. Benga proposed to me twice, on June 12, 2010, and again a week later on June 18, 2010, and I accepted both times. I was thrilled to finally have a man willing to marry me at 36, despite his unemployment at the time. We did the formal family introduction on September 11th and had our wedding on December 17th and 18th, 2010, just 2 to 3 weeks before my 37th birthday. When cookies began crumbling, Benga was unemployed when we met, but shortly before our marriage, he secured a job at a private secondary school in Lagos. As a result, we relocated to Lagos. He promised to find an apartment for us, but instead, he moved us into a room in Yemi's 3-bedroom apartment. We didn't have a honeymoon. For 2 weeks, I was essentially an unofficial maid to Yemi's pregnant wife. I eventually paid for a 3-bedroom apartment in the Akotun area, only to discover that Benga had rented a 5-bedroom flat. We started living together, and I noticed that he would often disappear on weekends, spending time with Yemi instead of me. Yemi's influence on Benga would later harm our marriage. Apart from shouldering all financial expenses, Benga never bought me gifts, not even something as simple as a handkerchief. He was unwilling to contribute financially to our household. I bore the brunt of all expenses, and he made sure to emphasize his lack of financial contribution. Things took a turn for the worse when he started comparing me to Yemi's much younger wife. I had footed the entire wedding bill, paying the registry fees and purchasing most of the items that Benga, as the groom, should have provided. During our wedding preparations, I arranged for photographers, but Benga claimed his friend would handle that aspect. However, I never received any wedding pictures, and Yemi refused to release them. My travails. The first signs of trouble emerged when I returned home from work to find that Benga had removed the sitting room curtains to take to Yemi's house after his wife gave birth. They used the curtains for their nursery. When I objected, Benga abused and called me proud and selfish. As I commuted between Ikotun and Ilishan in Ogun State for work, Benga rarely stayed at home. When I raised concerns, he and Yemi accused me of being married to two men. Benga claimed he shouldn't be seen as a third party in our marriage and warned me not to try to destroy his long-standing friendship with Yemi. On our first wedding anniversary, I broke down in tears, feeling sad and trapped. Matters escalated on February 25, 2013, during a conflict resolution meeting with our families, the Reverend who married us, and Yemi. Benga declared, "I am not continuing with this," marking the beginning of intense torture. He employed various tactics to force me to leave, including telling me he could have married a younger woman and that he only married me because Yemi advised him to. I became a professional beggar, pleading with Benga, Yemi, and his relatives to intervene. The situation affected my work performance, leading to my suspension. Despite paying the rent, Benga still insisted that I leave the house. On the last Saturday of September 2013, I attempted suicide in my husband's presence. I took an overdose of sleeping pills, and he stood in the kitchen watching me with a smile. I slept unconscious for over a day, waking intermittently to weakly call his name. He never took me to the hospital. When I regained consciousness on Sunday evening, he went to Yemi's house. Later, Yemi called me, saying he had heard about my suicide attempt. He asked if I thought Benga wouldn't marry another woman if I died. Between February 25, 2013 and September 31, 2013, I begged my husband to reconcile, but he refused. He wouldn't eat my food, and I'd end up throwing it away. He also starved me of affection for 2 years before I finally left. Although I never caught him with another woman, I later discovered he had impregnated someone. On October 1st, 2013, in front of his sister, brother, and their families, who had moved in with us, he brutally beat me, accusing me of stealing his 500 naira. That's when I realized he wanted me to leave, either alive or dead. I lost my job on October 17, 2013, amidst this marital crisis. Finally, I decided to leave him. On October 20th, 2013, I went to pack my belongings, and he claimed to have helped pack my boxes, telling me to take them and leave. However, when I started moving items like the TV, chairs, and rug, which I had purchased with my own money, he rushed to the police station with receipts bearing his name. I had honored my husband, boosting his ego to avoid financial disagreements. But that was my mistake. The police sided with him, taking away the items I had worked hard to purchase. That painful experience marked the end of my tumultuous marriage. Stay tuned for the next installment of this thrilling tale. Watch part 2 coming soon. Support us by liking and sharing this video with your friends and family, subscribing to Dr. Dan's Cartoon YouTube channel for more engaging stories.